Everybody wants Coop, but not everybody deserves him, Izzy. Not everybody's going to get him. We know that one. Not everyone deserves him. So today we're breaking out a new segment called Capture the Flagg.
Capture the Flag. Isn't that a game? Is it a real game?
It's a real game that you play when you're in middle school, but also it's a game that we'll probably play in 7 years when he's about to leave the team that he drafts him because he wants to be a free agent somewhere else. But for today, we'll play Capture the Flag. Who deserves to get him? What we're going to do, we're going to put two teams on either side of the screen, one on Izzy's side, one on my side, and they're going to play tug of war. But instead of tugging physically, we're going to tug with our words, Izzy.
Yeah, we're going to make your ass into a physical tug of war.
Well, yeah, all right, hold on. Okay. All right. No need to devolve, right? We're intellectuals here. So let's get the first pair of teams up. I've got the Pelicans. There you go.
That's your pitch.
Going to New Orleans this week. Izzy has, of course, his adopted son.
You thought I was done talking about the Thompson twins. Talk about a motor.
Jeez, how are they still coming up on this show, man?
Because they're the best. So the Pelicans have a 12.5% chance of getting that number one pick. My Rockets only have 3.8% chance. But let's discuss. You've already talked about the potential for him going to New Orleans and or the potential of New Orleans taking on another big player. If they get the number one overall pick, you mentioned them potentially getting Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes.
So maybe there's a lot of activity that could happen if they get it. But why would New Orleans make sense?
Well, I think New Orleans deserves him. It's not make sense as like it would fit. It deserves him.
Right.
Look, they've been through a lot, man. Think about like they had all this hype and hope and everything, and everyone just keeps getting hurt. Zion got hurt, and then Brandon Ingram got hurt, and DeJounte Murray got hurt, and then he came back and then he got hurt again, and Trey Murphy was hurt for a little while. Like, don't these guys deserve some sort of positivity? Look, they parted ways with David Griffin, so it's going to be new management in there. This is like a nice, fresh start. What nicer present to give to the new general manager than, hey, would you like Cooper Flagg? No. And then that gives them the ability, Izzy, to do a bunch of different things. Do they trade Zion? Do they trade for Giannis? Do they they can go so many different
karma-wise, you can't deserve a number one overall pick from Duke when you just had a number one overall pick from Duke.
That one was
just
effective.
Because he's eating his way out of the league does not mean that you deserve another one. The Houston Rockets, look, they are the team that's doing what everybody loves. They're growing an organic championship level team. They are doing what the Warriors did with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, their own draft picks, turning them into young up-and-coming studs. Throw in another one into there. Imagine the craziness around this team. They're already phenomenal. You throw in Cooper bleeping Flagg, a white American in Texas.
Put him in New Orleans, in Louisiana. The next coming to Pistol Pete. Hey, by the way, move that guy back over there.
No.
You guys were moving. They were moving Cooper Flagg. You weren't even saying anything.
Because I clearly had the better take.
You didn't say anything, and I see him moving more. I'm like, what's this going on?
Let's ask America if they'd rather see him on the New Orleans Pelicans or that team that you just saw take Steph Curry to 7 games.
No, he's not going to play. He's going to be like Reed Shepherd, another white guy
you get Reed Shepherd out of there. If that's a sacrifice you got to make to get Cooper Flagg on a 3% chance, okay. Right. But let's go to the next one.
All right, next I've got the Utah Jazz. They got a 14% chance of getting a number one pick, and they've never had one ever, number one overall pick. Meanwhile, Izzy has the Washington Wizards, who also have a 14% chance, and their last number one pick was John Wall in 2010.
Go ahead, Utah. Give me a case for Utah.
Start. I started last time.
I mean, I already said this about Texas, but a white American in D.C.? Come on, man. Like, that's exactly where he needs to be.
Trend now.
But let me just say this about the Wizards. Man, did you see the Untold on Gilbert Arenas is out and Javaris Crittenton? Like, what more bad news do the Wizards need? Like, they deserve somebody to come in and effectively, and I don't mean this literally, but clean up their organization just in terms of image. Like, come in and focus on Cooper Flagg as opposed to all this other nonsense. You already got rid of Kyle Kuzma, so he's not going to ruin Cooper Flagg. Like, remember a time when Dwayne Wade was out there competing against Gilbert Arenas? Hell, let's get even more recent. Remember a time when John Wall and Bradley Beal were saying that they were better than Cleveland and LeBron James, and then LeBron James went in there and whooped his ass in November. Like, that was the best that you're getting out of the Washington Wizards, is just this sad, oh, we're better than LeBron. No, you're not. Get out of here. And then John Wall's done, and Bradley Beal's sad over in Phoenix. Like, they deserve it.
Okay. All right. What's the name of the GM of the Washington Wizards?
Is it, it's that old Tommy.
No, Tommy's gone.
Tommy's gone.
Tommy Shepard is no longer there. What's the name of the head coach of the Washington Wizards?
Oh, it's that guy, Scotty Brooks, right?
Nobody can name anybody in the Wizards. You know why? Because that organization is in the dumpster. It is unfixable. It's unsavable. I don't want to send Cooper Flagg somewhere without vision. You know what I know about Utah? I know who runs the joint. Danny Ainge.
Yeah, you know what he's good at? Collecting draft picks from desperate teams.
He's also good at winning championships.
Did he? What did he do? Did he build that team in Boston, or did he leave when they won the championship?
No, he built it.
The 08 team.
And then built what's happening right now. So I know who's running it. I know who's coaching it. It's Will Hardy. It's Boy Wonder. It's the one who's the hottest up and coming coach, according to some people who are now no longer covering basketball. Look, this team, this organization has an identity, and it has a great young ownership group that is enthusiastic and has Dwayne Wade part of it. You love Dwayne Wade, right?
Yeah, okay. That's the thing I like least about Dwayne Wade is that he's a part owner of the Utah Jazz.
Well, guess what?
He shouldn't be doing that.
It could make you like the Utah Jazz a whole lot more if they had the number 1 overall pick. And you talk about a white American in D.C. and a white American in Texas.
Have enough.
Tell me of a white American in Utah.
They have enough.
Nope, they don't have this one.
Look, pull Cooper Flagg, Mr. Incredible, pull him back to D.C. Look, I'm just going to say this one more time. He is the leader we need in our nation's capital. Anything as a distraction, Cooper Flagg to DC, please.
You can't name one good athlete in DC right now.
Bilal Coulibaly.
Okay, name 2. All right, next up, we've got the Mavericks and the Sixers. The Mavs have a 1.8% chance of the number 1 pick.
My boy TJ Callen lives in DC. Hell of an athlete.
Their last number 1 pick was Mark Aguirre in 1981. Good Lord. By the way, the Jazz have never had a number 1 pick. Aren't they due? No. Right. Okay. And then meanwhile, Izzy has the Sixers who have a 10.5% chance of the number 1 pick after they tanked the rest of the season. The last time they had the number 1 pick was Markelle Fultz in 2017. Let me start. Look, man, Nico's not perfect. I get it. I know what this is about. We're all going to lump on to Nico. It's all Nico's fault. Nico this and Nico that. It's not Anthony Davis's fault that he got traded. It's not Kyrie Irving's fault that he tore his ACL. These guys are good dudes, hardworking dudes, want to do well. They want to win. Jason Kidd, he wants to win. Don't they deserve a win in the Look, don't give it to him because of Nico. Give it to him in spite of Nico.
Well, no. He's the reason you can't give it to him. Amin, if you give him the number 1 pick, his dumbass will trade it.
No.
He's not actually going to get Cooper Flagg because he thinks defense wins championships and the rookie's not going to give you defense. Look, the reason he's going to the Sixers is because man, you want to talk about failing miserably. Like, this is a team that they seemed like they did all the right things. They drafted Joel Embiid. Markelle Fultz was supposedly a good player, all just collapsing on top of him. Have we ever seen in the history of sports what has happened to Ben Simmons, afraid to play the game that he supposedly loves? All these things happened to the Philadelphia 76ers. And now, as a rebound effect, a big thank you to the basketball gods, they're going to get a ready-made champion with Cooper Flagg in there. Embiid's finally going to be healthy, and boom, trust the process, done.
What happened to the last kid from Duke they drafted?
It's irrelevant.
No,
it's
it is
all
relevant.
about the process.
That place is cursed. Cursed. Why would you put that on him to be around a bunch of guys that get hurt all the time? No. And Daryl Morey trying to act smarter than everybody else?
He's the hero on the, here I comes again, white horse. He is going to fix all of it.
All right, let's move on. We got a couple more. I've got the Brooklyn Nets. They have a 9% chance of the number 1 pick. The last number 1 pick they had was Kenyon Martin back in the year 2000. And meanwhile, Izzy has the Charlotte Hornets, a 14% chance for the number 1 pick. Last number 1 pick they had was Larry Johnson in 1991. Go ahead, Izzy.
The Hornets, first of all, there's no other team in the history of all sports that deserves some good luck, right? They need to turn this around, but you put Cooper Flagg with the team that used to be with Michael Jordan, and he replaces Michael Jordan. Like, he now becomes, so they wanted Michael Jordan to be the guy who runs the organization and bring his power. No. Cooper Flagg will do that, but on the court. And let's just be honest, he looks like, I know he's from Maine, looks like he could be from North Carolina.
All right, let's start with several things, right? Number 1, The Hornets, you want to talk about a wayward place where LaMelo Ball does whatever he wants, running red lights in his Lamborghini and stuff like that. You want to put him there so he can be unserious and mess around and learn all those bad habits. No, the Charlotte Hornets, even though one of the part owners is my good friend J. Cole. But no, I'm sorry, Cole. I can't even do that to you. I can't be biased like that. You know where I'm going to be biased to, Cole? Where I'm from, New York City. Hey, Cooper Flagg, you're supposed to save not a franchise. You're supposed to save our entire league. You're supposed to bring white Americans around their television sets like it's FDR doing the fireside chats, watching you every day. Are you going to do that in North Carolina where nobody cares? No, you're going to do it in the number one media market in the league. It's New York City, baby.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't have a great argument for the Hornets, but you just made one for me. Do it for J. Cole, and that way him and I can be friends, and you can leave Amin on the side. I bet you I know more of your songs.
Number 5, the last matchup of the night. Oh, I got the San Antonio Spurs. They've got a 6.7% chance. That's because they own 2 picks. One of them is Atlanta's. And the last number 1 pick they had was some guy named Victor something. Meanwhile, Izzy has the Atlanta Hawks, who have a 0.8% chance for the number 1 pick. The Spurs.
0.8.
Yeah. The Spurs have the Hawks pick, but the Hawks have the Kings pick. And that's from the Kevin Huerter trade to 2022. Last number 1 pick, of course, they had was 2024. Zachary Risarche.
And the Spurs already have the last 2 rookies of the year.
Give them 3 in a row, baby.
Wow.
Look, man, Greg Popovich retiring. He's been a fixture in NBA basketball certainly longer than my career. I started in the NBA, and he was already winning and had won a championship. So what better send-off gift to like, hey, Spurs, look, thank you, Pop, for 20-plus years. Pop, you're still in the front office. We're going to give you a nice gift. Your first move as the full-time president of basketball ops
El Jefe
is to get Cooper Flagg up in the building. And now you got a San Antonio team that's ready to compete right now. That's right. Ready to compete for a championship right now.
I'm sorry. In terms of karma, they're already maxed out.
No.
David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Victor Wembanyama.
They never miss.
Exactly.
No.
They don't need and they've cashed out and won championships.
All these other places where they get number 1 overall picks, they always flame out, right? It's like every once in a while, we got a good one, but you got all these bad ones. You know where they don't go bad? They don't go bad at San Antonio. And that's what the NBA needs. They need Cooper Flagg to hit.
No, if this is a karma situation, it's, hey, Hawks, we're sorry you got the number 1 pick in a shitty draft. Here's another one, back to back. I know you're going through all this stuff with your front office. You're never going to get that right. Let's give you a player that at least has people wanting to come to. Is it still called Phillips Arena?
No,
to call
State Farm.
State Farm
Why are you
Arena.
stuck in like 2003?
Hey, it's just, I mean,
Tommy
it's an American
Shepard
Airlines
and
Arena over there.
Scott Brooks and Phillips Arena.
Yeah, send him to Atlanta, please.